I don't want to get too far ahead. Anyway, so this, following on with the Plan, Do, Check, Act model, as well as improvements when we were meeting with Ruth for our onboarding for Lean, because we had new staff that had not been through the original introduction. This is one of the topics that came up that we're consistently working on. The more we talked about it, the more issues came up, and the more issues came up, the more ideas that we had. And as soon as the meeting was done, we were in the corner making the plans for this. So the gist of it, the campus store, one of the services we provide are shipping and mailing supplies and services. On the next few slides, we're going to discuss, as you can see on the list there, we're going to talk about the multitude of issues. And these are some that we've been addressing for a very long time. It's not just because of the Lean onboarding that we came up with these issues. There's just little things that continually focus in the side with that area. What we did initially to correct the measures, how we reevaluated after that, and then after the Lean onboarding, we added more corrective measures. And now we've used it a little bit, but we're looking forward to tax season because that will be the true test of how we do with our ideas. So that's kind of the overview of the store. Is much larger than that, but you'll see that Reg 5 and Reg 10 are our two primary areas where we have our register banks. The Reg 10 area does include 3 other registers, but Reg 10 is our primary. Reg 5 used to be our primary register, and in that area, as it was also used as our shipping and mailing area. So a lot of the issues that we were coming up with in that area were, if we were checking out a customer and somebody wanted to mail something, that congested all that area at the register, as well as there was no space to work. So essentially everybody was standing on top of each other. And it really became apparent when we had the COVID restrictions or policies in place that we had to do social distancing. There just wasn't the space. Along with that, if we were checking out a customer and say the shipping customer was asking questions, there were breakdown in communications because your attention is diverted to 2 different areas. As well as if the customer is asking questions and they don't get a clear answer, then that means the form that they would fill out, and I'll show you that in a minute, wouldn't necessarily get filled out correctly. There's a lot of steps in the shipping procedure, so sometimes steps were getting missed, causing more frustration. One of the other things that we had, so this was our first fix into our form. It was half a sheet, 8.5 by 11 landscape, which didn't allow a lot of room for students to write. So they would have to write a little bit smaller, and not all writing is legible. So sometimes shipping issues would come up with the address or contact information or emails, so they wouldn't be able to track it or get notifications or anything like that. So this is now landscape. So we made it vertical, so portrait, and that helped a little bit, but there was still a lot of communication issues and shipping issues. Here's what it used to look like. You can see the register on the left. The monitor on the right is where all the shipping processing would happen. Again, there's very little workspace. Even though it's not really cluttered, it didn't allow any space for a customer to shipping and for us to do checkout. So it's really constricted in that area, and especially with the plexiglass there for COVID protocols and wearing masks, it's hard to hear on the other side, especially if it's international students or they're quiet talkers, you can't always hear. So one of the ways that we addressed the shipping issue, the information communication, is now this is all landscape on one page. So it's one that we keep in our records. The customer, when they come to ship something, they fill out the top form. We've had to explain it a little bit more detailed of exactly what is needed, because we do have to go into the UPS program and enter in all this information. One of the other issues that we were seeing is during tax season, when students are sending their tax information, it could go to several areas in the similar similar, multiple locations in a similar area. So they had to be specific about the address that they were sending it to. So if it was previously sent to that, it sometimes would come up as pre-populated in the forms online. So we had to make sure that we're actually sending it to the right location. Again, if the students didn't write clearly or they misinterpreted it, then there were issues with shipping. One of the things that we saw a lot of is every time that if we didn't get the address right and UPS had to correct it, we were getting charged a fee on top of that. So that's basically money out the door that's costing us to send the customer's package. Just to clarify something, this doesn't apply if a student is just dropping off a prepackaged box, like if they already have a UPS or a FedEx label. This doesn't apply to them because that information was already entered on their behalf. Down below, you can see that for our use, those are all the steps that need to be done to ensure that we have all the information or all the steps in the process are done or completed for this package to be shipped properly. Again, we hang on to all of this. So if there's any questions in the past, or like if anything comes up, that we have documentation to say, well, this is what you provided, here's what we sent. Or if there's a lost package, we need to do any extra tracking. What we did is this, going back a couple screens, this is our new work center. So on this map, it is the blue rectangle up beside Reg 5. So what that has allowed us to do is have space for students or I guess any customer to work, as well as have all the packaging material in one area. One of the things we were seeing is with the packaging kind of spread out underneath the counter, again, if someone was already being checked out, the packaging was in the way or their customer was in the way, the packaging, they couldn't grab it properly. And we didn't always catch when we were low on supplies. Moving all the primary register to Reg 10, where we can watch the floor. So that was one of the additional benefits, but we can also watch the shipping area as well. That opened up that whole area over there in the corner, and we'll be that gap below the t-shirts is where we'll be putting boxes. Sometimes customers come in and just put the item on our counter and expect us to package it up. We don't do anything like that. They have to do it all just for liability purposes. This is what the area looks like from afar-ish. So the counter is now wide open. No shipping or mailing items are in front of the register. Everything is in the corner. The boxes will be in the corner. Over at the two counters on the right, the students have room to fill out paperwork, as well as process all of the customers have room to process all that, to keep getting students in there. But they have space to work now, pretty much uncovered from anything that we want to do at the register. That register is not open all the time, but if we were busy during a sale like this Friday, we'd be able to open that register at a moment's notice to help get customers processed. So having that area kind of strictly shipping and mailing now works really well. Again, probably after the first of the year when they start selling or sending out their tax forms and all that other documentation, it will be really a test to see if this works. We have pretty high hopes for it. We're continuing to evaluate this little by little. It has certainly helped the flow in our store and hopefully eliminate some of the frustration on all our parts. I do see that Shanda and Judy were on this. If there's anything that they would like to add, I believe that is pretty much it. So if there are any questions or comments.
I'm interested in from the idea of, okay, we can tackle this as a quick improvement event, and to when it was done to this point, how long did that take?
Because we talked about it in the meeting or in the onboarding. As soon as we were out, we walked to that corner, said, hey, why don't we do this? And I went back to my office to diligently work, and about half an hour later, I walked back out there and it was all set up like this. So really, less than half an hour, everybody got on it right away. And that was like one of the things I was talking about. It was only one little idea, and then it kind of sparked into this little bit bigger idea. And I have really high hopes for this area. I think it's really going to benefit our customers in all facets. Yeah, it's going to be much better down the road.
And the reason I was asking is sometimes there's an impression that improvement events have to take a long time, and you went through the process pretty quickly, and I'm sure that you'll be watching for any adjustments that need to be made as customers start using this. But this is absolutely what we're striving for, is more of the inflow, moment to moment improvements rather than necessarily always having big events. So great, congratulations.
Yeah, there was a lot of time that we had spent thinking about ideas, but it was just funny how fast it was. Just in the meeting or in that onboarding, it clicked, everything kind of fell into a place. And so certainly discussing it multiple times before that, and having us continue, especially with the form. The form has been one of our biggest issues, along with space and workspace. But having that form now where everything is documented, where there's space to work, and having all that information in one place, I think will help a lot of processes in that area. So
I really like also how you brought in the customers' value, needing some space to work, having all of the supplies they need to do their packaging. That's a primary value of lean and continuous improvement, is that voice of the customer. So you did a good job in respecting that.
And it's the perception that we are a shipping shop, like a customer can just bring in an item and we'll do all the packaging. So that's a message that we need to work on, aside from just promoting that we do shipping, and a very reasonable cost, because we are a UPS drop-off and shipping location. The costs are, but we don't want to lose what we're making in-house to mistakes where UPS has to correct it and then they charge us for it. So
right.
Anything else?
There was something that came into the chat. What about an app with a QR code that once scanned takes the user to a digital shipping form? That way staff doesn't have to re-enter the information. The customer doesn't have to spend time writing, less communication errors. I don't know if that's possible, but it's an idea for consideration.
Absolutely. And we're talking with our UPS rep on another item, and I was going to bring up something like that. I'm not sure if there is. I've not shipped through the website, so I'm not positive on that, and I haven't tested it yet. But yeah, certainly having a kiosk of some form in the corner would be very, very easy to put in, and a printer so they did their own labels. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Any other questions?
Shipping's not very exciting, so.
I really appreciate the picture. It really helps me understand what was going on.
If shipping wasn't exciting, that would not be all we're talking about right now. I mean, try to get something off the store shelves right now with all those boats lined up. That's all shipping.
True.
Well, and having our main registers now over at the left of the screen now, that's our main bank of registers. Opening up that whole other area over there has certainly helped with the flow of traffic in the store. So there's multiple benefits of even from the process itself being updated and the location throughout the store. It's really helped. So having everything in one place.
Great.
All right, I guess that I don't have anything else. So thank you.